Most American colonists were still loyal to King George up until the 1770s. But when England subjected her subjects to increased control over colonial affairs, it started a revolution. A 5-man committee was appointed to draft the Declaration of Independence. This outlined the colony's desire for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. On sunny July 4th, the Congress approved the Declaration of Independence. The first July 4th celebration happened on July 8th, when the document was publicly read in Philadelphia. The crowd reacted with gunfire, bonfires, and fireworks. This custom was borrowed from England, of all places, which is how subjects rang in their king's birthday. Only in the colonies, they were celebrating the king's symbolic funeral. As King George sat safely on his throne in the summer of '76, his likeness in crudely fashioned dummies was burned in the colonies. In New York City, the equestrian statue of King George was hacked up and reportedly smelted into bullets for the Revolution. 1 year later, citizens of Philadelphia honored Independence Day with fireworks, bonfires, and music. During the Revolutionary War, troops celebrated the Declaration's anniversary with double portions of rum. Actual bombs replaced the fireworks. After the colonies won their independence, cities across the U.S. relived the Revolution by participating in the July 4th revelries. Men commemorated the day by gathering in taverns to drink and argue over the new nation's leaders. It was a purely American custom to freely criticize the government. On the 50th anniversary, by eerie coincidence, both the Declaration's author and its editor, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, died July 4th, 1826. Eventually, Americans looked at Independence Day not so much as a day of rebellion, but as a day to appreciate the rights bestowed on them. In 1870, as America was healing from the Civil War and African Americans were freed from slavery, Independence Day became a recognized holiday. But if federal workers wanted to spend the day picnicking, they did it without pay. That changed in 1938, when Congress voted to make Independence Day a legal holiday. Since then, the holiday has been celebrated in good times and in bad, in war and in peace. American communities rally together, all because of that small act of bureaucracy in 1776 that started a free nation.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from the Breaking News show in Honolulu. With me today, as always, is Dr. Peter Tarlow, joining from College Station in Texas. And we start with the weather, and it's a cloudy day today here in Honolulu, but I don't think it's going to rain. It might rain a little bit later tonight. It's still a fairly nice day. It's about 70, maybe 9 or I know it's 81 actually right now. So how's everything in College Station?
Well, I'm jealous because it's hot in Texas. In fact, we've had a real heat wave for a while, and we are having a drought. So we need rain, and we need the temperature to drop. It did go down to around 92, 93, which is about 31 degrees, 32 degrees for about a day. But it's back up to 100 in most of Texas today, which is about 39 degrees. And by next week, it'll be hotter. So this is definitely been a very hot summer. So I'm jealous of Hawaii. I kind of wish, of course, Hawaii is not very interested in tourists, but if you were interested in tourism, I'd like to be a tourist there right now and get out of the sweltering heat.
Yeah, and the beaches are open. Luckily, we didn't have any shark attacks.
Yes.
I think our friends in Egypt are less fortunate with the shark attacks. Yes. I see 2 people get killed over the weekend on Sunday today in the resort area of Hurghada. What is a beautiful area. It's fantastic for diving, but it looks like there is a hidden danger, right? And there is a Romanian woman and an Austrian woman both dead.
Yes. Yes. It's been a rough shark year so far. Especially because I think today we're going to concentrate a lot on the United States because tomorrow is Independence Day, the 4th of July. And even though that's an American holiday, on some level, it does touch much of the world because the American economy is so big and American tourism is so important that one way or the other, you're going to interact with the United States, with airplanes, with economies, even with war in the Ukraine, the United States touches that. So whatever it is, the US does touch.
The story of the United States has been written for centuries, penned by millions of authors, written in every language, from every perspective. It's an epic adventure, a love story, and a mystery. Full of twists and turns, newfound discovery, and a cast of unforgettable characters. With every chapter as unique as our people, our history, and our land. Every sentence crafted in exquisite detail. Every page different from the next. Our collective story is one made up of many, and there's a page waiting for you. Find your story in the USA.
But this is one of those unexpected consequences. In Massachusetts, where they have been really going out of their way to protect the seals, the seal population has expanded radically, and seals attract great white sharks. So now you're having shark attacks up and down the Cape Cod area, which is Massachusetts' #1 tourism area, and they have to close the beaches at the height of the summer so that people won't go in the water and get attacked by sharks. So this is a real example of sometimes when you do one thing, you end up with some other problem. And this is a real example of it. But today we really shouldn't be talking about problems. We should be talking about celebrations. And this is our country's 246th birthday. So it's been 246 years since the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And the United States, really starting in the 50s, became the star of tourism. Now, it's not the largest tourism country. I understand that's France, although I question some of those statistics. But, and of course, France is close to other European countries, so it's easy to have international travel there. But the United States is certainly, as an outbound country, we have added tremendous amounts of tourism around the world. American hotels are famous. Many of the hotel chains are all over the world. The United States has become a real beacon for the whole concept of Disneyland and for amusement parks. And not everyone has a Disneyland or Disney World, but lots of countries have copied that concept. And there's amusement parks that become now famous around the world. So I think, and of course, the movie industry is another area where the United States has really excelled in showing the world sometimes the good, sometimes the bad, but Hollywood and the whole of California has become a major tourism attraction because of those movie industries. So I think there's lots of stuff between the United States and tourism. And of course, that doesn't mean we don't have problems, but it does mean that we should also be thankful for what we do have.
Yeah, and the United States, of course, is a country of immigrants. There are people from all over the world are moving to the U.S., and that is ever since our creation in 1776. Right. And so you cannot really say there is an American because he looks white and has a cowboy hat. There are Americans, there are Chinese, there are Africans, there are Latinos. So Americans can be anywhere, and they can have any religion. They can be Christian, they can be Hindus, they can be Jews, they can be Muslims. So we're really a rainbow destination, I would say. Absolutely. And also a rainbow country. So it's distinguished really not where you're from. And actually people in the United States are encouraged to maintain their own cultural roots. So you find churches here from all over the world. You find cultural events from everywhere. So it's really a multicultural country in a lot of ways.
It's kind of like visiting the world in one country. And I always define the United States as a country of the second chance. Because especially in the beginning, nobody came to the United States because they wanted to come. They came because they had to come. They were either thrown out because of economic problems or political problems or religious problems or social problems. And this was, and that's the whole concept of the Statue of Liberty, of course, one of New York's great tourism attractions. And the beautiful poem written by Emma Lazarus, who talks about, give me you're tired, you're weak, you're hungry, those yearning to be free. And that was the whole concept that she wrote about. And of course, now it's the basis of the Statue of Liberty. And I was paraphrasing, but you're absolutely right. This is a country where there is an American culture. It's slowly developing, but it's a culture of cultures. And so there's not a unique culture, but many cultures that have kind of merged together to create sort of a mishmash of cultures and of even languages. Even the English language is spoken differently in different regions of the country. So I really encourage people, if you're listening to us from outside the United States and you've never been here, this is a unique experience. Now, sometimes it's not easy to get here. It's not always easy to get a visa. We sometimes make things very complicated. And I know that the tourism industry would really like things to be simplified for people to be able to come in and not go through some of the misery that they had to go through to get a legal visa, even to visit.
Yeah, and of course, yes, that's, and the reason I think for the visa is because we have so many people in the world that really want to come here and live here. So of course, the government has to be careful to make sure that people who come here for tourism come here for tourism. And
Right.
I think any country would probably do this. And then, of course, in the day of terrorism and all these other things going on, we have to be more than careful than other places, because as a world superpower, we have super issues when it comes to terrorism and to attack. It means we're loved in many places around the world, but we're also hated, unfortunately.
Yes.
And we have to make sure we keep the haters out and the people who love us come in. You know, that's really the goal here.
It's not an easy goal, but on the other hand, this is a country that has given people so many opportunities. I'm in this country for many generations. You're first generation American, but we're both Americans. And I think that's really the issue. This is hopefully a country where we'll be able to continue. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to see eye to eye on politics or on ecology or climate change or any of the other issues of the day. And everyone has a right to kind of make their stance. And that really makes tourism interesting here, because if you come from a tourism perspective, you're going to see really not one country, but and not even 50 countries, because many states have sub-regions within the states, but maybe 100 countries. And Florida is so different from Alaska, or Massachusetts from Los Angeles. And Hawaii is its own little world out there with aloha and you all living in grass huts. So
I would, my grass hut is 45 stories high, though.
Yes, it's you have very high grass huts, and I know that not everybody. You do have beautiful flower lays that go around people's necks when they arrive, but not everyone wears a grass skirt. So I understand that.
And the flower lays is unfortunately for many, it's a thing of the past, because when airport security became a reality, you cannot be met at the gate. You remember in the 70s and 80s, you can just go to the gate and you say hello and you kiss your grandmother and everyone coming in. These times are over, but there is security, you know, and yes, you can still get your flower lay at the baggage area, but it's not the same.
No, it is, but at least you still have the, but the thing I think that you're pointing out is that each country, each part of the region of the country has something unique. There really is no, even though we say hot dogs and hamburgers and sauerkraut and coleslaw and baked beans are American food, they're really regional foods taken from different parts of the world. And tomorrow on July 4th, or if you're watching this program on July 4th, Americans will be eating a huge array of foods, many from their own cultures. But I think almost everybody will probably have some watermelon, which is kind of becoming a national national fruit. So especially it's a great summer fruit and low in sugar, surprisingly, low in calories and very high in vitamins. So
Yeah.
it's a good fruit to have and inexpensive. I don't know what it's like in Hawaii, but right now people are giving watermelons to their friends, and you can get a nice watermelon for about $2 or $3 here.
Well, unfortunately, not here. I think you could probably get pineapple juice cheaper here than watermelons. But yeah, no, it's not. And also watermelons is an international food. Remember me of watermelon, where I love watermelon. I love watermelon juice and everything. And I have a lot of watermelon here in the refrigerator. It is good. But you know where I drank my first watermelon? And where I thought, oh, this is really good. It wasn't in the United States. It was in Iran.
Yes.
So you see how this all
Yes.
adds together. It's a unified world, and we're all coming together here in this country.
Watermelon is a Middle Eastern fruit originally.
Yes.
So it's from any of the countries in the Middle East. But you're right. This is a country where we don't have one cuisine. We have many cuisines. And everyone's brought something from their own nation. Or so the Germans brought hot dogs, and Jews brought corned beef, and then that was adopted also by the Irish. So a Jewish dish, corned beef and cabbage, became also an Irish dish. And the Germans also adopted the Jewish dish of potato pancakes with applesauce, and so that became international. But all these things are so interconnected. How many Americans consider Chinese food to be and we actually invented some Chinese food dishes, like chow mein doesn't exist in China. It does exist in the United States. It's an American Chinese meal. Bagels don't exist in Israel, but they do exist in New York City. And you have lots of examples of American type food that really has been developed. Even pizza, really the most famous pizza, and there was a big debate between Chicago, which is deep-seated pizza,
I love the
and New York. But you have this big debate over which is really the pizza capital of the world, New York City or Chicago.
Chicago.
So, well, that's the debate. Okay, it goes on. But again, notice how the United States has taken ingredients from different parts of the world and created an American twist to that. So, of course, there's pizza in Italy, but Italian pizza is somewhat different from American pizza. They have the same name, but it's not the same game.
And you can, when you listen to Peter, you can see how important food is for Americans. It is an important thing, and Americans love to eat, and that shows, unfortunately.
Yes.
But when you go overseas and you see the size of many of the Americans, unfortunately, including myself, we stick out somehow, you know. And so food may not always be healthy, because we can get any type of food. And it's so important, really, since we're talking about food, that you watch your diet. Don't just eat hamburgers all day. They might be delicious for some people. I like the In-N-Out burgers. I could eat it every day. But is it the right thing to do?
No. And unfortunately, one of the gifts we've given to the world, and not one of our best gifts, was fast food. So we invented things like Burger King and McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. And these are all American inventions, which are great to have in moderation. But if you eat them every day, you will not be moderated. You will end up dying of a heart attack and being well overweight. So, but the whole fast food industry, the whole concept, the American concept of time is money, and that was translated into food.
Yeah, and you don't want to end up in a hospital for eating, because there's unfortunately our health care system needs a lot of tweaking, I think, to come up to world standard in a lot of ways. But then again, if you look at most of the invention, most of the new medicine, the new procedures, they're all coming from America.
Yes, America produces wonderful inventions.
It's leading in the world, and then on the other hand, many of our hospitals are completely substandard. So there is a variety of good and not so good everywhere in America. It's a very diversified country.
Yes, and that's really what I think the tourist gets. As a country, this is a country that really offers you everything. Now it's big, and that's the other side. That the United States is the size of Europe. And so a European country is really the size of an American state. But so when you're visiting the United States, you're really not visiting a country, you're visiting a continent. But we're very lucky to have that continent. If you think about it, from Maine to Hawaii is 6 time zones. That's, the same distance as it is from Madrid to past Moscow. So
Moscow is only from Madrid 3 hours different.
3 hours different.
Far behind that, it's actually going from Madrid to Singapore.
Yes. Is that 6 hours?
That's 6 hours, yes.
Yes.
So we
Hawaii,
have huge distances here.
yeah.
And
So
it's not only that, we can even go further, because there are a lot of places they are as Americans as they can get, but most people don't know about it. Like, let's look at Guam. Guam, on their license plate, it says where America begins its days, because it's on the other side of the planet.
right.
And when you go from here, yes, it's you have a 20-hour time difference between here and Guam. It's a 7-hour flight. Well, it's actually 4 hours, but it's 20 hours because it's the next day. And we have American Samoa. We have the Northern Mariana Islands. On the other side, we got Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands. These are all American territories outside what we call the U.S. mainland.
The continental,
The continental U.S. And then, of course, we have Hawaii and we have Alaska.
yes.
2 states that are part of the United States, but not part of the continental U.S.
Yes. Well, actually, Alaska is on the continent. It's just separated by
Canada.
Canada. So the Canadians kind of stuck themselves in between Washington State and Alaska, but that's okay. They're friendly and a country, and we're happy to have them. We're very lucky to have Canada as our neighbor, because
They let you drive actually from Seattle to Anchorage if you want to do that. So that's a good thing.
Yes, yes, but but if you think going from Alaska to Florida or to Puerto Rico is a very long distance, and it's and boy, talk about from cold. I've been in Alaska in February when it's 40 below zero, and going from 40 below zero to which is, by the way, the same on the Celsius and the Fahrenheit scale, to 105, 110 in Florida or Puerto Rico, or 40 in the Celsius scale. That's 40 below zero to 40 above zero on the Celsius scale. That's a big difference in temperature. So again, if you're looking to come for a place for diversity, the whole world on one level or another, if you can't find it in the United States, you probably won't be able to find it.
Yeah, and extreme weather is definitely something we have in the United States. I remember the day I was in Chicago, and you couldn't get away from the airport because it was so cold that
Yes.
taxis and even the train could not operate.
Yes.
So luckily I had a hotel room already booked at the Hilton inside the airport terminal. I was lucky because there are hundreds and thousands of people stranded. They couldn't go anywhere. So then we have tornadoes in some parts of the country. We have
Yes.
hurricanes.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
so we
but-
got everything here.
We sure do. But having said that, we've survived 246 years. We are, I think the United States still works very hard to, in many ways, do lots of good things for the world. I think all of us should be very proud of this country, those of us who live here. And I think if we really follow the principles of our founding fathers, we should be a country that's looking to help. We're the only country probably that sends out its foreign soldiers not to conquer, but to help. And at the end of a war, we don't stay, we leave. So I think there's lots to be proud of in this country. And doesn't mean everybody loves us. I understand that. But I think we do a lot more good than we do harm. And happy.
That's why we have the fireworks tomorrow.
That's right.
So it's like New Year's in a lot of places. We have fireworks everywhere.
Yes.
And people are looking forward to do this. So what do you do on the 4th of July?
Well, normally I have, first of all, I should say the 4th of July, my family is really special because my son Nathaniel's birthday is also the 4th of July. So Nathaniel, if you're listening to this broadcast, happy birthday. And normally we have a lot of people over at my house. a kosher hot dog and watermelon feast, and lots of the neighbors come. Unfortunately, this year my wife has a flu, so she's not able to. I don't want anybody to come and get sick, so we're going to have to do it a week later. But it's a really good chance for everybody to get together. We do have at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Not only are we having fireworks, but they now have fireworks and a drone show. So, and along with lots of patriotic music. And I know in Hawaii, you guys canceled the fireworks this year because they afraid.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know really why this happened, because we had fireworks on the ship, so it's quite safe, and you see it right everywhere you are on the Waikiki side. And I'm not sure. I guess Corona is playing strange things to the world.
Basically, this weekend has been a weekend of fireworks. And I always tell my son, Nathaniel, all these fireworks are not only honor of the United States, but also in honor of your birthday. So Nathaniel, happy birthday.
Yeah, Nathaniel right now is in Indonesia, I believe.
That's right. Bringing, and hopefully he'll have a little bit of a happy birthday there, and maybe, I don't know, have some sort of special Indonesian 4th of July celebration
Yeah, I don't think they really celebrated in Indonesia that
no,
much.
but maybe he can introduce a new holiday to Indonesia.
I remember I was in Chiang Mai in Thailand, I don't know how many years ago, for the 4th of July, and I was invited to the US consulate, what is a huge consulate, and they had a hell of a party. I had so much fun. So we're even celebrating it overseas, at least in our consulates and in our embassies.
Yes, I've been to American embassy parties around the world, and so those are also really special. Well, I want to wish you a happy 4th of July, and let's hope this coming year will be a year of peace, and some of the economic challenges that the whole country is facing and much of the world is facing will be conquered, solved, and that when we talk about this next year, which will be again July 4th, that the world is in better shape than it has been this year, and that maybe there'll be more peace and more prosperity.
Yeah, and I think I could definitely endorse what you're saying, Peter. Happy 4th to everyone, and let's make it a better year for America.
And if you're an American, or if you are any place else in the world, join us tomorrow, say a prayer, and let's make the 4th a special day for everyone. So happy 4th of July.
Aloha. Bye-bye.